Rob, let's go here. Of course, a big divisional round of playoff games coming up this weekend in the NFL. And I think, Rob, there are three quarterbacks, in my opinion. You might disagree. But I think there are three that are facing a big amount of pressure. Brock Purdy, because they are wildly favored to not only win the game this weekend, but win the NFC at the very least. In fact, I think they're still favored to win the Super Bowl, even though Baltimore blasted them when they played. And Rob, they've got 4 All-Pros, and they've got such a talented squad that if they lose, a lot of people will blame Brock Purdy. Now, it's one thing if he goes out there and throws for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks.
And the defense is
lose.
awful.
Right. But in most cases, in most scenarios, like the defense is going to be pretty good. And if he just plays a bad game and they lose, he will really get criticized. The other two, first, I think Josh Allen, Rob, has never been able to get over Mount Mahomes, right? He's beaten Mahomes 3 out of 4 regular season games, Rob, but he's 0 for 2 against him in the playoffs.
And the one playoff one, the one where he came back and got that touchdown, that wasn't his.
No, it wasn't his fault.
I'm just saying that. But that he got the touchdown at the end.
Phenomenal game.
He got the touchdown at the end, Chris, and the defense couldn't hold it in 13 seconds. Right, that had nothing to do with him. I'm just saying.
No. But he's still viewed as a guy that has underachieved in terms of the playoffs and hasn't been able to get past Mahomes. And Rob, if you don't do it this year, when Kansas City's offense is as bad as we've ever seen it, when the Chiefs played 500 football over the second half of the season, when you have the home field advantage against the Chiefs, when are you going to do it? And so if just like we talked about Dak, if Josh Allen doesn't win this game, he could very well be viewed as a regular season quarterback too. And then you've got Lamar Jackson. We talked about him a little bit yesterday. About to become the youngest player ever to win 2 straight MVPs, or not straight, but 2 MVP awards. And they both
before
might
age
be
27, right? Before age 27.
Well, he's 27 now,
right.
But yeah, he just turned 27. But he might, I think he just turned 27. Yeah, but he might be both unanimous. But yet in the playoffs, he's been 1-3. He's played poorly. 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. And again, they're facing a rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud, who, as good as he is still a rookie and has a team that's not nearly as good as Baltimore. So if he were to lose this weekend, Rob, he would, get crushed as well and be viewed again as a regular season quarterback. I personally think the most pressure is on Lamar. Now, some people might want to throw in Mahomes, first road playoff game, Goff, right? Because they're playing Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay, who they should win. They're at home. Like, there are other guys, obviously Love and C.J. Stroud, Jordan Love, C.J. Stroud, really playing with house money. So
those guys are house money, right?
Right. So I think Lamar has the most pressure this weekend, Rob. Where are you at?
Yeah, it's got to be Lamar because of what he was able to do, and we assuming that he's going to win. I don't think anybody's doubting he's going to win the MVP, Chris. So I think it is because of that. It's going to be on Lamar, and that doesn't mean that Brock Purdy's off the hook, because Brock Purdy's whole career.
I think all 3 of them are on pressure.
Yeah. But if I had to pick one, I'm going to pick the guy who just won MVP, who just had an unbelievable season, the guy who just beat up on Brock Purdy and the 49ers, in the biggest game of the year, so to speak. So I do think it's Lamar. I think Lamar has something that it's time to put it all together. He has a team. He has all the pieces, Chris. There's no real excuse. If they play football the way I expect them to play, I'm not saying they're going to win by 40 or anything like that. I just expect them to win.
Yeah, and I think the good thing about Lamar, one of them, is that he understands that.
That's all he's talked about is
Yeah.
about winning the Super Bowl.
Well, right. But yet he's got the right approach. Like when people have said to him throughout the season, oh, you did this, you did that, you guys crushed so-and-so. He's always like, we haven't done the job yet. We have one goal in mind and we got to take it 1 week at a time. And he's never really, I haven't heard him overlooking the next opponent. Even as he's talked about his one goal is to win the Super Bowl, he's always taking it 1 week at a time, Rob. Whereas I think with the Cowboys, for instance, the biggest example of a team that underachieved this year, they were talking Super Bowl, and I think overlooking teams. I think they overlooked Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, part of it could be that, Chris, but the other part is they just weren't ready to play. I mean, I get it because we talk about this all the time, and I'm mixed because I've seen that, they just gave them billboard material. There are plenty of teams that gave teams billboard material and still got beat.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the other team was better than you.
Right.
And so that doesn't always work, and nobody ever goes back, after the team beats somebody with billboard material. It's only when you lose. Then people go, see? You never should have said that. They never do it when they talk a big game, Chris, and they win. But
San Francisco did that to Philly this year.
Yep. Right? And ain't nobody said anything. Right.
And Philly actually did it to Kansas City.
Yep. So, but this is for Lamar. He has no excuses. No, they're healthy for the most part, Chris. They got their team. They can run the ball. Their defense is dynamic. Oh my God, it's a record-setting defense.
First team ever to lead the league in scoring defense,
right?
Sacks and takeaways.
I mean,
so they do it all.
They do it all, and that's going to be a big part of the game as well. Not just Lamar. Lamar just has to do his part. This isn't about Lamar having to score 45 points.
Does.
That's it.
I mean, he's had a lot of games, Rob, where you just look at the box score and
they're
think
not that impressive.
Pedestrian. Right. But when you watch it, he controls the game. His scrambling at the right times, much like Mahomes, but obviously he's a better runner than Mahomes. But both of those guys scramble very effectively. What about Allen, Rob? It's
now or never. It's just now or never. Like the Chiefs. This is Mahomes' first road game, right, in the postseason, Chris. Not talking about a neutral site Super Bowl, but a road game.
Right.
So it's big when you play at home all the time, and they have the Chiefs. They've been very fortunate. Now they're in hostile territory. The Chiefs aren't that good. They're good, but they aren't what we've seen in the past. They're beatable. Yep. They're very beatable. And if the Bills can't make this happen, you could almost put up a bow on the whole thing, Chris. McDermott, Allen, that team the way it is. And I'm not saying that Allen's going anywhere, but I'm saying as far as feeling like, like their window closing. I could really feel like that's the end of another Buffalo chapter.
No, there's no doubt about that. And excuse me. Yeah, I mean, this is the year he's got to get it done. Look, I think McDermott's job is safe, Rob, even if they don't win. I think, look, I don't
necessarily think they get blown out at home, Chris. I'm not convinced that.
I think there's an excuse for him. While I wouldn't, I've been saying his job should be on the line, but they have a lot of injuries, and they had a couple guys injured last week, and so I think that could serve. When he made the change to Dorsey as OC, or got rid of Ken Dorsey, I should say, as OC, put in Joe Brady, they've been rolling ever since. And so I think that gives him an excuse. And then I think if their defense doesn't play well, the injuries to the defense, that gives him an excuse. But I don't think it should be that cut and dried. I think they really need to look at it if they lose. But I'm with you. I mean, this is the year they need to get it done. Do you think Mahomes is under any pressure, being that it's his first road game?
No.
And
I don't think that people really expect, if he were able to get to the AFC Championship game, it would be a miracle and it would be a testament to him. I don't
really
think he
would.
And if he loses, I don't think anybody's going to come down because this team just was inconsistent all year, Chris. They really weren't. They lost. Well, at one point they lost like 4 out of 5 or something, like ridiculous. Like
They went 5-5 down the stretch.
down in their last 10, right? So
Yeah.
so I don't look at it like Mahomes is going to be like, oh my God. Now if they make some changes and it's a struggle again next year, then people will be like, okay, what's going on here? He needs another.
If they lose, they got to go get some receivers.
Oh,
At least
definitely. They got to improve the team,
receiver.
Chris, next year. I don't
Well,
care.
the defense is really good. The run game is really good. The O-line could use a little tinkering. But, Rob, to me, their main thing, if Kelsey comes back, and Noah Gray's okay as a tight end, then I think the main thing is just
Kelsey
they need to
coming
get
back?
receivers. He said he's coming back, if I recall
Because once you
correctly.
start talking about retirement, I always wonder about that.
Yeah, but I think I'm pretty sure he said he's coming back. So they really need, to me, one thing, and that's receivers. So we'll see. But if you're right, Rob, if they win this game, I just think the Kansas City mystique grows, right? And it's like, man, even in the year when they look down, they go ahead and get it done, or at least get deep in the playoffs. So